Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So Module 30 is just around the corner, bringing the return of the Pirate Skyhold. This will bring with it a bit of a change to our stats and what we'll be wanting to go for. They've gone and increased the caps of power to 120%, including combat advantage, crit severity, defense, deflect severity, forte, incoming healing, and outgoing healing. What this means is we have a ton more room for stats. On top of that, your ratings on each of those can now go 10,000 higher than your item level, meaning you can gain an additional 10% stats from those ratings. So you can see crit severity is now capped out at 115,000, where my item level is only 105,000. It's gonna be something to get used to, but nonetheless, we can still reach all the caps. As you can see right here, we're getting that 120% power, that 120% combat advantage, that 120% crit severity, with still the 90% crit strike and accuracy. Now this is indeed making use of a full party and all the bonuses that can come with that, along with being in combat and triggering all of our gear pieces. So we're getting like 18% crit severity through this armor piece, another 7.5% crit strike here. Our neck and waist set's going to give us 7.5% accuracy, and our trousers, they're new, are going to give 9% crit severity. And these actually are going to give them very reliably because of the Master Boon life lessons that heals you and so allows this to trigger super reliably while attacking in combat. On top of that, you're going to have a healer, and that's going to even further help to maintain a good uptime on this. So while we use our encounter powers here in combat, you can see we can get all of those stats maxed out. So it is very doable, and yes, we are using a striker companion. So that means, unfortunately, augments are not really going to be returning. Yes, you will have much more room to fit those ratings, as now we have 10,000 free rating points to go into power, into combat advantage, into crit severity, versus before we were limited at just equal to our item level. Now we can go 10,000 above that. But nonetheless, you can still use gear pieces that we've had that give rating points. You can use Executioner's Covenant, Mender's Covenant, and they give massive amounts of rating points, over 13,000 with just these three. On top of that, you can stack all the mount auras. I have in the party here, one person giving me Mystic Aura, another using Runic Aura, and then two of them are using Pack Tactics. And in terms of the other bonuses that my team provides me, well, we have Flapjack, we have Tutor, we have Portobello, we have Minsk. We don't really need Minsk here to give us the 2% combat advantage. That will just get us to that maxed out 120%, but you could just have the spider totem instead of, say, the forager's box and just as well get that. And on top of that, we don't know yet the standpoint with the devs, because currently combat advantage can actually only get to 100%, and anything above that has no effect. The devs will be fixing it, but does that mean the combined combat advantage plus awareness reduction that you can put on the enemy, is that going to be 120%, or is that going to be more? So you would have bonuses like Illustre's Grace and also the Bregan armor that healers can use that reduce the enemy's awareness, and by doing so, that's effectively giving you combat advantage. And if it's maxed out at 120%, then you'll only need like 105% combat advantage, because there's also the enhancement here, Dulled Senses, which is going to reduce the enemy's awareness by 9%. So you'd be safe around 105% combat advantage in most groups. Anything above that would probably be useless. I'll try to keep you guys updated on that, especially when we come towards the launch of Module 30, as it will be very important when working on builds. But ultimately, reaching these new stat caps is very doable without an Augment Companion. Unfortunately, they won't be making a return anytime soon. Augment Companions will give you even more stats now on Celestial, a total of nearly 36,000, which is a bit nuts, and still I would like them to add new companion enchantments that cause your augments to do different things, whether it's boosting you with just more percentage stats instead, or even just providing a boost to your entire team, things like that. I think we really could do with some new companion enchantments to do different things. It's good to have this one, but it would be nice to have alternatives. Instead of them continually adding just new enchantments that all they do is give a stat boost. Give us new companion enchantments, new combat enchantments that have unique special effects that are actually useful and don't just replace what we're currently using. And yeah, using Augment here is not viable. We run into too many issues of too many stats. I did make a build with an Augment and it works, but then you're not using, say, executioners, and you're not really making use or the most use of, say, the auras you can get from your team. And it's probably more something that a solo player would use, where they're not going to rely too much on, say, benefits that your team are going to give you. Also be aware, most definitely Raptors are making a return. They'll now be giving a whopping 22% total power, and that's something you can't really miss out on, because you're going to need that in order to hit the new cap of 120%. So yes, Raptor builds are returning, and without a coordinated group, you'll definitely be missing out on a good bit more damage than before. Before, you were able to reach all the stat caps while still having good damage bonuses from companions specifically, but you had to use, say, the magma weapons to give you power and, say, this power ring. Now we still have to use like the power ring, but we can use more damage bonus weapons like these new ones are fine. Honestly, there's not anything great for the new dungeon, so these ones will work just fine with their item level boost, because you can't really use Void Touched. Celerum will probably still be the go-to for maximum damage boost there. But if you want, say, the extra movement speed, these are nice with that, and you'll barely miss much damage. And they do need to fix the base damage boost actually working. But overall, just wanted to let you guys know, new stat caps and yeah, builds will be changing pretty significantly moving forward into module 30. You definitely won't be reaching stat caps without the useful team buffs that we use in endgame. And I'll go through them later on, but I already mentioned most of them. Again, those auras, those support companions, all these that you see in my companion document, you want to have like these 5, and they do some decent damage too. Even using Itrine perhaps instead of the Spine Devil can be viable. But overall, thanks for watching. A massive thank you to all these channel members for your extra support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now. And yes, I will be coming out with full build videos on how to get all of these stats and pretty much all the classes. Rogue is probably one of the hardest ones to max out your stats, particularly because you only get 2% free combat advantage. The other classes, you generally get upwards of 10% free stats. One thing you do have going for it is your forte is giving combat advantage, so it's easier to stack that. But again, we'll have to see the state of what happens with combat advantage and awareness, and you might not even need more than 100% combat advantage moving forward. And we do have Celestial Companions, so it makes it a little bit easier to get those stats capped. As you can see, we now get like 9% here. And then yes, the Raptor. Absolutely insane amounts of power. Definitely grab that companion if you don't have it already.